There is only one skill that you need to make $333 a day. And to be honest, making $333 a day is the easiest it's ever been, especially in this new information age. All you need is the one skill, which is objection handling. And if you learn how to objection handle properly, it will change your life drastically forever. Now, I have taught this exact same guide to thousands of people, one being this guy named Akash. And quite frankly, he had no idea this was even possible, how to make money, how to objection handle, how to do sales, any of that, until he trained with us and he did do it. And now he makes $333. Honestly, he makes way more than that every single day. And if you watch this entire video and actually apply it, you will be in the exact same boat. So sit back, enjoy the video. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stories in this video to make sure and depict it right for you, so that way you can crush it. So enjoy. So let's start with point number one. And point number one is understanding what an objection actually is. That would be my first question if I were watching this video right now. Okay, you said the skill to make $333 is objection handling. What the hell is that? Right? So that's exactly what I'm going to explain to you right now. I'm going to give a really short answer to this. Basically, what an objection is being told no or being told a lie. Now, it's not necessarily a lie. It is, because it's false, but it's not coming from a lie context, right? A lot of people are just using an excuse rather than a lie. Now, here's an example that I see fit for this, okay? Let's say you want to go to a restaurant. Let's say that restaurant is the Cheesecake Factory or whatever your favorite restaurant is. Let's say you want to go there. And the person that you're going with says, nah, I don't want to go there. They don't want to go there, but you want to go there. That is a perfect example of an objection. They are blatantly telling you, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. Here's another example. Let's say you work at a retail store right now. And in that retail store, someone comes in, they walk in, they're looking for something. Obviously, that's why they're at the store. But you go up to them and you say, hey, is there anything that I can help you with today? And they look at you and they say the automated response, which is no thanks, I'm just looking. You respond with, okay, let me know if you need anything, and you walk away. That is another prime example of an objection. And I'm sure as a customer, you even do that all the time. You walk in, somebody walks up to you, hey, can I help you with anything? You know for certain, or at least I know for certain, that I am there for something in specific, especially when I go to the store. I am on a mission. I am looking for one thing and that's it, and then I want to leave. I know exactly what I'm there for and what I'm looking for. But as soon as somebody asks me that, I just somehow come up with this automated response of no thanks, I'm just looking, because I want to be left alone. But I don't actually say that. That is the prime example of an objection, and that's what they look like. With that being said, let's understand what an objection is from a fundamental standpoint based off of those stories. Most of objections are just automatic responses that we've been trained to say or we've seen 1,000 times. They're not actually real. And to be quite honest with you, most people don't even know why they're saying it. That example that I just gave about the store, do you know why you're saying no thanks, I'm just looking? Or are you just saying it because you've seen it a million times, your parents did it, and you're just doing it because? It's a good question to ask. The other side of the fundamentals to an objection is they don't believe that it is the best decision for them where they're at currently in their life. That could be due to where they're at currently in their life, of course, their experience, and their timing. The restaurant example is perfect for this as well. If someone says, hey, I want to go to the Cheesecake Factory, and the other person says, nope, I don't want to go there, most of the time that's based off of an experience that they may have had at the Cheesecake Factory. Or it's the timing. Maybe they just don't want cheesecake right now. It's that simple, okay? And that is understanding what a true objection is. Now, the number one question that I always ask for this is, why is it that way? And I don't have a full answer for this. I honestly don't know why it's always that way. People just generate these automatic responses or excuses based on multitudes of different things. But what I can tell you is from an objection standpoint, if they believe it's not right for them, most of the time it has to do with timing, experience, or a multitude of other things that has already happened in their life. And once you understand that key point, you start to really walk towards how you can actually handle an objection. But right now, point one, we're just talking about understanding an objection. With automatic responses, my theory behind this is so many people have seen it time and time again in their life since they were very little. Their parents would walk into the store and say, nope, I'm just looking, thanks, screw off, right? They would just tell that person to go away so they can continue enjoying their experience being with their family and not being bugged. Most people say, no thanks, I'm just looking, for the simple fact that they've seen it a million times, it's an automatic response, or they just want to be alone. That's it, right? It's really, really simple. They just want to enjoy their experience and they don't want anybody breathing down their neck. That is important to understand when it comes to actually knowing what an objection is and where it comes from. So now that you know that, let's move on to point number two. Point number two is basically building off of point number one. Point number one is understanding what an objection actually is. Point number two is actually identifying that an objection has been said or is there. Now, this should come to common sense if you're in a normal situation like a store. When someone says, no thanks, I'm just looking, you automatically identify that that's an objection. But in the sense of stories, in the sense of being on a call, in the sense of actually trying to sell somebody, it is a little bit different. In the sense of a friend, it's also very different. Once you've become comfortable with somebody, identifying an objection becomes much harder. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. An example of this would be listening to like a super exaggerated story. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard this many times in your life, or you have friends that have said it now, or specifically in my remembrance in like 4th and 5th grade. There was all these kinds of different exaggerated crazy stories as a 4th and 5th grader, between peers, between friends, in the locker room, whatever the case may be, there was a bunch of exaggerated stories. Now, you've probably heard it time and time again, but there's been a multitude of different stories I've been told that I don't know if it's entirely true. For example, there has been a multitude of different things where, let's just say Johnny has told me a story about how his family is multi-millionaires and they're just absolutely insane. They own this and they own that and they own all of this, and he's telling me this as a 4th and 5th grader. That doesn't really make sense, especially considering the clothes he wears, how he acts on a daily basis, what he does. It doesn't really make that much sense that that would be the case. Also, Billy over there knows his parents and knows that that is a lie, but is not saying anything. So basically, that's what all of the exaggerated stories look like. You're familiar with them, you've seen them multiple times, you know people that have told you. There's a bunch of different exaggerated stories, especially from close friends. Now, the reason that you can identify that and you know that it's probably false in that story is because, one, you know them a little better than that. You know that that's probably not the case. But even if you don't know that person, you were doing the very first part of actually handling an objection, which is listening. You were listening intently to everything that they were telling you, and you knew that a part of that probably wasn't true. Now, that actually brings me to this point of how to actually identify objections, especially when you're on sales calls, is you have to be able to listen intently to everything. When you were asking them questions based on who they are and what they want, when they were going over a bunch of different things, they were telling you their goals, they were telling you what they want to accomplish, and they told you basically their life story, and then they gave you an objection that didn't really make any sense because it was false, you can identify that because you listened to everything previously to what they shared. And of course, you're listening to the objection as they're sharing it, which means that you can identify it very, very easily by actually listening to what they're saying, listening to what they've been saying in the entire conversation. Sales is a chess game. It's not about one specific part or one piece or one thing that was said. It's a culmination of everything that was said in that entire sales call. And that is how you truly identify if an objection is an objection or not. Now, point number 3 segues us right into the final part, which is actually being able to handle that objection. There is a multitude of different ways to actually handle an objection, and it depends on what the objection actually is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a framework and a principle behind how to handle most objections. Now, one big story that I always represent this to is talking to a used car salesman that is a terrible salesman. And basically what they do is they go out, they show you a car, and you say, nah, I don't really like this car. And they respond with, oh, yes, you do. you just don't know half the features it has. That is the dumbest thing you could possibly do to handle an objection. Don't tell them, oh yes, you actually like it, because they probably don't like it. That's why they told you, and that's not the true objection. You need to be able to handle that in a sufficient manner. So, how do you handle situations like that in an efficient manner, especially on a remote sales call? Well, it's super simple. You have to understand why they are saying no. Not everybody is going to be telling you no. They're going to give you different objections, but like I said, this is a framework and also a principle that I want you to understand. Understand where the no is actually coming from. That's it. So, how do you do that? That's the ultimate question. It's very simple. All you have to do is basically ask why. What do you mean by that? Now, you have to ask it in a way without pissing people off, of course. Don't be like, why though? Because then you have an attitude and it looks weird and you don't want to do that. You have to ask why without irritating people. Genuinely be curious when you are asking that question. And you need to have a true conversation rather than a robotic response. There's quite a bit of sales trainers out there right now that will say if you ask why, you're a beginner. And I completely, wholeheartedly disagree with that. And any one of those sales trainers, we can go back and forth and we'll see what happens. But you should ask why a lot, because you have to understand what they actually mean when they are saying no. You have to understand it. And the only way to understand it is by asking why. Understanding what their position is on saying no. If someone says, I don't like this car, my first response is going to be, okay, no problem. Why don't you like this car? Because I'm just having a genuine conversation. There's no script. There's no persuasion skills. There's no anything like that. I'm genuinely asking you, what do you not like about this car in particular? And then they're going to tell me, well, I don't really like this. I don't really like that. The headlights look like aliens. It looks weird. And then I will know situationally what car to put them on, because I'm like, oh, okay, so you like this, this, and this. You don't like it on this, right? Cool. Let me show you this instead. And that's going to allow you to actually find the solution. If you don't ask why, you're never going to know what to do in any situation. If you do ask why, you're going to understand how they're actually feeling, what they're actually telling you, and why they don't like it, so you can come to a solution. You have to understand the problem. You have to understand the objection. You have to understand everything. And the basic premise of what I like to do, especially in sales, is very simple. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Be honest. Put yourself in their shoes. If you were living their exact life and you were going through their exact experiences, you'd be scared too. You wouldn't like that either. If you went through some of the experiences they did, you wouldn't like that restaurant either. It's very simple. So figure out why, understand why, and then be able to move in a situation that allows you to come up with a solution. It's very simple. It's not hard. Sales is not this crazy game that constantly allows you to study the different types of persuasions. It has nothing to do with that. Have an honest conversation, have a genuine one, and understand their point of view. And when you do that, not only will you probably make the sale, but you'll probably make a friend as well. And that is the most important part about sales that brings it so much further than just making money. You actually get to make connections, you get to make friends, and you get to have somebody in your corner that you didn't have before. So, with that being said, that is the 3 points that I wanted to make about objection handling and about the skill you need. And I've taught this to multiple different people, and they are absolutely crushing it now. So if you want to be one of those people, of course, I do have a link down below where you can sign up for our completely free course where you can get in, you can start to learn all about this and really deep dive into what remote sales actually is about. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment down below if you want to see other videos talking about different topics, because I'd love to hear from you guys, and I want to make videos that you guys want to watch. So please leave a comment down below, make sure and hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.